Please rise for silent invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Shall we call the roll?
Councilmember Ford.
Present.
Councilmember Bastian.
Here.
Councilmember Stiltner.
Here.
Vice Mayor Tremont.
Here.
Mayor Burnett.
Here, 5-0. All of us, we have a quorum. And there's something going on that has called us all together this morning. Jake, you want to tell us what we're going to talk about?
Absolutely. I'll give you a brief on the 5 o'clock weather briefing that some of you might have already seen this morning. Give a little bit of an indication of where we are in the preparations, what we have yet to do. Probably do some question and answer right there where we'll discuss something about the preps and the palm pump downs and the Waste Pro, what Waste Pro is doing, where they are, and then we'll pass over to Matt. Matt and I'll chat. If you're okay, Matt, you can pretty much go over what the emergency powers are for that the mayor will be signing if they agree, and we'll march on smartly. So having said that, the 5 o'clock brief this morning, every time we get a brief, Hurricane Dorian is slower and more to the south. But if you look at the, and this is the 0500 brief that we just got. If you look at some of the models, and Councilmember Ford and I were talking last night about some of the models, the European model everybody loves. I think the European model is the one that's been the most accurate recently. But if you look at the GFS model, which is that yellow one that loops back around, with the understanding that the quadrant from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock on any hurricane is the worst. That yellow GFS model there is the one that's going to cause us the most pain, because it's going to loop around, that quadrant's going to catch us, and then it's just going to keep on looping back around and out toward Fernandina Beach and Jacksonville area, and it's going to nail us throughout in the outer band. So what does that mean? That means heavy winds, not hurricane force as it comes across land, but winds like a bad day for us normally, but constant winds and constant rain. So as it stalls, it might be a day and a half, maybe 2 days worth of rain as it loops back around.
Terrific.
And I'm going to go back to the previous slide. As you can see, I originally thought about activating the EOC on Friday afternoon, then it went to Saturday morning, then it went to Sunday morning, and now you don't see it hitting landfall till maybe Monday or Tuesday. So we're remaining fluid on that. At some point, Lynn and I are going to have to snap the chalk line and pre-position some gear at an expense, like I didn't do in Matthew, like we did do in Irma, and so I would like to have that gear in place. Depending on how it comes across and what it's looking like, Lynn and I will determine whether staff can do that in-house or we're going to have to use a contractor like we did during Irma. I think we used ASET last time, so we'll see how that goes. But that comes at a cost, and questionable reimbursement, but we'll do everything we can to get reimbursed for it.
But this is also why we have reserves.
That's correct.
This is why
Right.
we try to have a high reserve requirement. We know these things happen. We know that the last time around, there were communities in the area that were borrowing money. And it's not a good place to be after the storm.
Having
That's
said
not gonna be
that,
us.
given the financial situation that interest rate wise,
Mhm.
bridge loan's now an option, just out of fiscal common sense. We're looking at that now with Scott Niels and come up with some options should it benefit us to look down that path. So speaking of path, there's the other models that have it going along the west coast of Florida, going back out to the Gulf. And as you well know, when it goes back out, it occasionally.
We don't see anything.
Oh, can you press the button back
She's
there,
working
my
on it.
friend? Thank you.
There we go.
So, if you look at the other models there, they're heading along the west coast. The white model there, the UK Met heads back out to the Gulf, and as we know, when it goes back out to the Gulf, it can gather another head of steam and hit the Panhandle again.
Like they need that.
Preparations, the Public Works, Public Utilities team are set, ready to go. We have pumps on station in the high flood areas that our drainage doesn't do well. That means we can pump out the water and get it to a better conveyance where we need to. We have pumps on standby as well. And we have, do we have all our lift station backup pumps ready? So all our lift stations are also prepared. If you recall during Irma, well, although we had some lift stations that failed, we had backup pumps. And if I recall, we didn't have any sewer problems.
Maybe one small.
One small sewer problem, and we never had a water issue. And we're prepared, actually, drainage-wise, we are in better shape this time than we were last time.
Okay.
Nova Canal's been recently cleaned by the county. Cambridge Canal, Lynn's got all that cleared out. A lot of linear feet of drainage has been cleared just because we're back in that business
Yeah.
now full time, and we're very confident that it's going to be better even than Irma was.
Well, good, because we might have a whole lot more water this time around too.
Right. So
It's looking like.
we'll we'll take your questions in a minute, but one of the things that Lynn and I are working with Christine and trying to educate the public on, and I don't want to poke them in the eye too early, but I do want to set expectations. Public ponds that we use for retention will get pumped down as necessary. There's a lot of people calling in about their private ponds. We don't pump down private ponds. We have to go on private property to do it. There's a liability there. We have other things to do. We just don't have the infrastructure to, I consider private ponds, and you all know I live in a private community. It's like being in somebody's 40-acre property, their farm.
Yeah.
Once you go on their farm, it's theirs to deal with. And my neighborhood's the same way.
Yeah, mine too.
We've made, I think we've made some adjustments to take care of our own business there in our community. And I think some of the others after Irma, we had some great conversations with HOAs, private HOAs, on taking care, and they kind of said, well, we never really thought we had to take care of our own stuff because we're taxpayers, and we kind of said, well, the people that don't live in your community are taxpayers too. Is it okay if they start coming into your community? And they're like, oh, wait a minute. So they're starting to come along.
Wait, can private communities that have these ponds, are there restrictions on them for pumping them down, or can they pump them down?
Lynn,
I'll have to find out.
And if they do, where do
Yeah,
they?
where do
Yeah.
they direct the water to?
So, and Lynn will find out,
Okay.
but a lot of the ponds have drainage associated with them. So they're not going to overflow because the drainage works once it gets to the pop-off point. So we'll get that answer for you.
They can always pump them too, pump off the
Right? Yeah, they could pump them right into the that high water drain like.
Oh, yeah.
They can just pump them into there. We have our city services will be pre-positioned for debris removal, depending on how bad the hit is here, whether it's a hurricane or just tropical force winds, will determine whether we have contractors helping us or not. We have all our contracts in place or about to be in place for debris removal. DMS site, our DMS site has been pre-approved by DEP. It is out on Hensel Road. It's the same place it was for Irma, or virtually the same place out on Costa's Kings Landing area. It will not be there next time because there'll be houses there. But with that come the same concerns we had with that area. Dust settling on people's homes and whatnot, and we'll put out door knockers or have the DMS folks reach out to the people at Rolling Hills and let them know that that it's going to happen again, and do the best we can to mitigate those issues. We've sent the deputy city attorney out to make sure that the EOC has plenty of food.
Slim Jims, Gushers.
We're good. We got everything.
And Yoo-hoo.
And you sent me the picture. I had to use it. Plenty of Yoo-hoo. So we should be good. Now, Susan and the Parks and Rec staff are going to do the food at Lakeside, delivered to the EOC for warm meals, and we'll do cold meals for breakfast and I think for breakfast and lunch. So that's what we did last time. A lot of lessons learned, if you recall. I think I was up here for an hour and a half explaining the lessons learned from Matthew. So we didn't make those mistakes during Irma, and comfort food is always good, Matt. Thank you.
Just trying to figure out why Matt ended up in charge of that.
I think he might have gone out on his own.
I'm not going to dig too deeply into that.
So, I had a conversation with Councilman Stiltner, and now I'm on that. Now I'm on that bandwagon. Christina Potts and Lynn Stevens and the team out at the water plant do a great job of providing us great water every day. Since I've been here, and Scott said since he's been here, and he's been here a little bit longer than I have, he's never turned on his tap and not had what I call sink juice come out of the tap. We've always had water for our citizens. So we don't intend to stop that practice during this event. You should have tap water. We do suggest that you try to do your best to keep as much as you can. I had somebody ask me a couple days ago, well, if I have no water, how am I going to flush my toilet? Well, you don't need tap water. You don't need drinkable water to flush the toilet. You can get a bucket of rainwater if it's that bad, and dump it in your tank and flush it. But
Use your pool water.
or
anything.
pool water or retention pond water. That's another
Fill
way
your
to get your
toilet in
ponds
advance.
down, right? Private
Pond water.
Yeah, that's right. So
Phil, you got bathtubs.
so-
You all have bathtubs. You fill your bathtubs with water, and then you
everything.
bucket it in your toilet when you need to flush.
So yeah,
Again, we've
you
never-
don't
never been
necessarily
without
need
it.
to go out and buy cases of expensive smart water. It's not
drinking
making you
water.
any smarter. So we got plenty of water. Public safety, we have our Port Orange Fire Department, Port Orange Police Department poised to do what they need to do. The county has up-armored Humvees and battle wagons and everything in God's green earth to get people in high water conditions if we're unable to. Chief Fuston's got a brush truck that's got a minor issue, but it sounds like we'll get that fixed before the weekend, and he'll be able to use that for any rescues that the county's unable to help us with. The county's also going to keep, I believe they're going to keep one helo here in DeLand and shoot the other two out to Orange City, to the convention center, until after the blowover, and then come back. But they're going to keep one here in the hangar, so there should be plenty of assets for rescue. We really don't have any barrier island issues other than the local flooding east of
Seabird
the
Island.
tracks. Nothing ever happens to Seabird Island, but yes, if so, we have the assets to go get them. That's all I have for a slideshow. I'd like to briefly go over the ESFs and make sure we're all covered. ESF 1 is transportation. Chief Grimaldi's working with county, the sheriff's department, and all his partner agencies here in town with other cities to make sure they coordinate transportation. We're having a, not an issue, but there's a lack of communication between the sheriff and the local police departments on bridge closure. They hope to resolve that or agree to disagree and come up to me with the resolution probably by the close of business today. But we want to, that's always a frustration of the citizens. Why are you closing it? When are you closing it? Why can't I get back on the barrier island? Why aren't you opening it? Why is Daytona open? Why can't you open? You guys are jerks. So we're trying to coordinate that. So
We
when
can all be jerks at the same time. that way.
either that or say the reason Daytona's open is because they've been inspected. We're being inspected yet. You can go there, but I
Right.
suggest you wait here. So it's just good to have the information, explain it to the public and go,
And what
I don't
you're
know
talking-
why they're open. I just know we're not.
And for people listening, what Jake's talking about is after the storm, even though the weather seems to be all clear, the bridges do need to be inspected and certified as safe before we allow traffic on them again.
And if the barrier islands are impassable, once you get over there, they don't want you over there to begin with till they
No,
till they
absolutely
clean
not.
up. So, ESF2 communications, we have about 80 different ways to communicate out of the EOC, and including Chief Fuston, we still have satellite. We have one satellite phone. We've not needed that in the past, but if everything goes out, we have a landline phone, and then we have all of our data. So Public Works and Engineering, Lynn, I told you, has that pretty much under control. ESF 4, Fire Department, Chief Fuston's got that. ESF 5, Info and Planning is a coordinated effort. ESF 6 is Health and Human Services, that's handled by the county. ESF 7 is Logistics, that's pretty much Lynn and her team. ESF 8, Public Health, is the county. ESF 9, SAR, is Search and Rescue, is the county. The Fire Department, the Police Department. ESF 10, Hazardous Material, is the Fire Department. ESF 11 is Agricultural and Natural Resources, held by the county. ESF 12 is Energy. FP&L, which solely owns our energy, will have, I think Linda Webster and one other person will be in the Volusia County EOC. And Robin, who's back today because it got delayed, will be our rep coordinating with Linda. Public Safety, ESF 13, shared by both chiefs. ESF 14, long-term recovery, will be probably Alan Rosen when he gets back. And ESF 15, External Affairs, Public Information, is Christine. So that covers all the National Response Framework emergency functions. I'll be at the EOC. We have yet to determine when we're activating it. I would say right now, without officially saying so, we're in a partial activation in that 90% of our staff is doing preparation, and they've put aside daily business. I will make a call by noon today, probably 1 o'clock today, whether City Hall will be open on Tuesday. I suggest not right now, but if this thing turns around and goes the other way, then we'll reopen. But we weren't open Monday anyhow, so we'll take a look at that and get that information out to the public before the end of the day.
Which leads to, we'll go through our list in a bit.
Please.
We'll need to talk about whether we have our regular meeting Tuesday night or bump it a couple of days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that you guys can plan for that. And the last thing, it's more than just about whether the storm has passed or not. Certainly we want to get together and get information out to people, and meeting in council is a great way to do that. But the problem is that if everybody is engaged in the after action efforts,
Right.
It might behoove us to boot that another 48 hours so that we can hear more about what's going on and not hinder those efforts by bringing people in here for a regular council meeting.
Right.
Or simply because we want reports from you.
And that, you know,
You
you and I
communicate
talked
with us
yesterday,
anyway.
that agenda is light, really, looking at agendas in general. And there's a lot of great stuff in there, but none of it, I don't think any of it, and staff, if you look through the agenda, just make sure there's nothing that's time sensitive, but I don't think anything on this one is time sensitive that we'd run into a problem with delaying, so.
We got a couple second readings. I don't sure
Right.
about the advertising requirements, but they can look at that and let
Yeah,
us know.
yeah, well, force majeure, I think we get a little latitude on that.
I think a category 4 counts.
So, yeah, so before we get into the emergency powers and any questions you might have on that, I'd like to, if it's okay with you, Mayor, get the questions that everybody has about.
Sounds like a winner. Why don't we
Okay.
start? Marilyn, you want to start?
You talked about the city pumping public ponds but not private. Here's my question. Are there any private ponds that the city has ever pumped? Because sometimes when a citizen calls and you ask the question, is that public or private, they'll say, well, it's private, but the city came and cleaned it
I
up.
guarantee you we have in the past, and since I've been here, for 4 years, I've done everything I can to get out of the business of doing private things with public stuff. That's an ongoing thing, and we do occasionally go, oh, that was private, and then we let the people know that, hey, we did it. We shouldn't have done it, but we did it.
Okay.
I want you to know that this isn't something that we're going to do every time. So we set that expectation, or we set that, you know, not that we did it for you this time. We said we did it. We shouldn't have. And so you need to make arrangements to do this on your own next time.
Okay, good,
So-
thank you. And then, do we have a list of the public ponds or the general area? That would be helpful.
Sure, we can.
You know, if you, I don't know
Maybe get 'em up
what,
on the
located by
website.
street.
We'll try to get a GIS picture on. I'll send it to you, but we'll try to get something online so people can see
I
what
think
we're
that's a
talking
great
about.
idea.
With a general list,
Yeah.
so they
Yep.
don't, if they have trouble.
Lynn, you
loading.
got that? Thank you.
Some computers are slow and have trouble loading that GIS because it's so detailed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we can at least get the general list.
Okay.
And I know that City EOC hasn't been activated yet, and we
Correct.
got the number about the Citizens Call Center.
Right.
Do you have that number available?
The Citizens Call Center?
Yes, you know, ahead of time, because I'm thinking some people,
Ours.
oh, the 50,
You want our
What's
you want our
ours?
Citizens Call Center number
Right.
now? 386-506-5999.
I've got that number. But
Yeah.
that's the one that's also gonna be used.
You
when
dial
somebody-
it. You dial that number. That number is the call center for Hurricane Dorian. No matter where that person is, they will answer from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then and then when I go to full activation, it'll be a 24/7 call in.
Okay, do we have that information on our website?
It is website, media, and I think I'm going to put out a video later today with some information on it.
Exciting.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
A couple questions, Jake. and
Yes, sir.
one, in regards to the private pond, do the private ponds impact our ability to pump what we need to pump out? Meaning, can something that we're responsible for flood because a private pond was not pumped out?
I don't believe a private pond can affect our conveyance of stormwater. If it did, then we would figure out how to do something project-wise to make sure that it doesn't cause that problem.
What are our, how are we advising folks that are out right now doing last-minute tree trimming? What are we, if there's gonna be debris that's gonna be out there, are we sending anything out, sending a truck out?
No.
All right.
Waste Pro is I don't know they're doing double time, but they're doing a lot of extra work trying to prep for this. So.
But it's
um,
not something people can count on.
But no, it's not something people that can count on. So I went on the radio today and I said, look, if you're gonna trim trees, bring your palm fronds or whatever you're trimming, just bring it in your garage for us, because I don't want it in the drain. We put that out on social media. I put it out on Bernier, or the mayor did. We put it out with the WSBB this morning. I think Port Orange Observer's probably going to put it out shortly.
I see her writing right now furiously.
So the News Journal already put out a general thing. The county's putting it out. Councilman Stiltner put it out on his Facebook site already. So Facebook post. So anybody I think I have already done it on my Facebook page. So it's not going to get 100% of the people.
Sure.
Somebody isn't going to care. They care about their house. They don't care about your drainage, and so there'll be stuff out there, and it will, as you well know, it will be in the road or in the drain, because nobody wants their grass to die. So our city staff, by the way, including police and fire, if they see a drain that's blocked, they'll stop and pick it up. So that's where our minds are right now, is stormwater conveyance.
Last thing is, every year, the biggest irritation from the public oftentimes is the debris pickup schedule. And we've had issues with contracts in the past.
We have had contract issues, but we've never had issues with debris pickup schedules. Our issue is getting the schedule put out with enough time so people know when it's coming, right? That's the biggest frustration, is I know it's going to get picked up, I just don't know when. So that was a frustration the city had, because you were asking me, we were asking the contractor. Contractor said, the more time I spend telling you where we're going, the less time I'm going there. So we have contracted with a different company this time. I'm not going to say they're going to be better, but we're going to get in early and try to set expectations. Chase, we had the same problem with sidewalks. The sidewalk guys say, I got all your sidewalks you need, I'm just going to go do them. And so we never knew where the heck he was going to be. So we got that fixed. We got the road, we know what road's going to be done tomorrow fixed, and now we're going to do with the debris removal. So we hope to have a little more heads up. Having said that, especially with Irma, if you recall, we had a hard time getting them here. Once they got here, they started moving. But we asked that the citizens have patience. We'll try to get a schedule out, and we're going to follow the same protocol as we did last time. In that, so after Irma, we talked to the private HOAs about removing their own debris, and I think some of them have budgeted for that. I know mine has, but private will be last on the list. I can guarantee you that. Our responsibility is for public roads, cleaning public roads and cleaning public areas. The private areas, you have in the past said you're authorized to please go do private, but we saved that for last. And what that did is that forced some private communities to go, well, I'm not waiting. And they put it on a trailer and they sent it to the dump, and they paid the $1,000 and assessed their people for it. So that's one of the things that we intend to do again, is we'll get to you after we take care of the public rights of way.
And I think
So-
we also got to remember, we're competing for resources depending on the size and scope of the emergency.
We were
statewide.
definitely during Irma,
Irma
and
stretched
as
it
that
about as
thing,
much as
if
I've ever seen
it
statewide.
loops around, right? That's what we want. We want it tight and to go right across and into the Gulf. It takes care of 17 cities. They send 2 companies down here, and they clean it up in 30 days. But it's not looking like that's the way it's
multiple
going to
county
be.
scenario is The larger the
And,
area.
and
the
they
harder
can
it
handle
is.
it. They handled Matthew. Nobody was wanting for services in Matthew. So Irma, not so much.
Not for long anyway, yeah.
Right.
Irma was a different deal.
Well, Irma, we had guys pulling up to City Hall with trucks going, "Hey, I'll do that for you." I think we hired one. So,
Irma, 3/4 of the state was without power after the storm.
right.
It was
So,
massive.
to answer your question, we'll do our best to set that expectation on when it's coming.
I'm happy that we're using rather a different contract with somebody else. I wasn't happy with the last.
Well, yeah, they may
Could be worse, Jay.
they
I still.
we're checking them out,
Fool me
right?
Once, shame
Yeah.
on me, but,
Yeah.
the, also, and I know it's aftermath, but nevertheless, one thing we did last time I thought was very good is we communicated, folks, bring your debris out, in front of the neighborhoods. I remember Madeline, we saw all up and down, it just made it easier. Folks didn't really have to the pickup crew didn't really have to go through the, neighborhoods so much. Is that, strategy to be implemented again?
Well, so there's a couple things. We want everybody to bring their refuse out to the public right away. That's what you do. That's what you do. You bring it out in front of your house. So the folks that brought their stuff out to Madeline, which, if you recall, nobody liked that. I see people bringing stuff out. Well, that's where we want it to be. I would venture to say that some of that was from private subdivisions, right? The private,
Absolutely.
and that's kind of what we said, right? So I go back to the 40-acre farm. The gentleman's on the 40-acre farm, and he's got debris, but he lives on a public street. He's allowed to bring his stuff out to the right-of-way to get picked up, and that's FEMA reimbursable. So now you got the 40-acre farm that happens to have 80 houses on it, right? It's called a private subdivision. Those people are bringing their refuse out to the public right-of-way. So that's what was happening on Madeline. I don't think I have a problem with that, because now I don't have to worry about going into a public or a private subdivision and all the liability that's associated with that. So if it's on the public right away, we're going to pick it up. So I somewhat welcome that. We also, for those folks that live in Port Orange, we're also going to have a DMS site like we had during Irma at the Public Works building in back.
People
So
bring their
if
own.
you bring your own, if you don't want your grass to get ruined, and you got a pile of stuff, get a community trailer, throw it on there, and bring it on down to the Public Works Department. We'll take it. So
Less we have to do, we get to the
it's
next
less
one.
we have to do. Your grass doesn't get ruined, and you're happy because the stuff's gone. And did you have that pond name? Can I get that pond name? You were gonna give me a pond name for.
There was one behind Stony Brook Circle. I have to go back and look at it. now.
Okay. We'll take a look and see if it's public and private, or private and whether it's going to be. And that list will help when we get it online.
Okay. Is there an address for the public for the Public Works building?
413 Oak Street.
413 Oak Street.
14 Oak.
413 Oak Street on the east side of the city, in the River District,
Right behind the railroad tracks.
near the railroad tracks in the River District.
Thanks,
Port
Jake.
Orange.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Drew?
The pumping down, like Dunlawton ponds and everything, and we're gonna pre-position for Dunlawton being the state
Dunlawton
road.
hasn't flooded
Yeah,
in a
and
long
that's good.
time.
What about the, that weir
Knock a
gate?
little harder, there's a lot of rain.
The
Weir-
weir gate on the canal there at Spruce Creek and Oak.
All that is
Be
micromanaged by
proper
the guys at the wastewater treatment
Perfect.
plant now. The
Perfect.
wastewater treatment plant guys that are there,
That's perfect.
watch that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
That's why it hasn't flooded in 3 or 4 years.
Beautiful. Good stuff.
Yeah, Steve
like-
Parnell came along and said, I got this. He's not there anymore. He's up in the big house now, but his guys and gals still do a great job of micromanaging that.
Yeah.
The annex, the big house, not the clink.
The annex.
We'll take guidance anywhere we can get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Scott.
That's awesome. First off, I just want to say that, we don't always see this many staff members, team members, city family members in the room at the same time, so it's great to see everybody. Having been a former employee of the city, I know that this is an incredibly stressful time for all of you and your employees, because what a lot of folks don't tend to think through is while they're prepping and taking care of stuff, you guys have major obligations and you can't always get to your own personal stuff. And that doesn't stop when the storm gets here, right? And it doesn't stop after. In fact, it's usually worse after. So I appreciate the job that all of you and all of the city employees are tasked with. I totally understand that everything that we are about to endure and deal with has to be fluid. Not everything will go right, but that's always been one of the best things this city has done, is when things don't go 100% the way we want them to, we adapt and we overcome it and we deal with it, and that takes a lot, and there's a lot of stress involved in that. And so I just want to say that my family and I and a lot of us will be keeping all of you as well as the whole city in our thoughts and prayers. When you guys need things and you need help, don't be so proud not to reach out and let us know. I know that's a big thing with Jake too, so we got to take care of the folks that are going to be taking care of a lot of folks. So let's do the best we can with that. One thing I think that we have learned from past storms that really, really seems to help is when the power goes out, they can't watch Channel 13, Channel 4, Channel 6, Channel 9, whatever. But for some magical reason, Facebook endures the storms. Who'd have thunk, right? So what I would ask all city staff, all city employees, council, everybody, is continue to encourage people, if they're not signed up on the city social media sites, do so before the storm gets here. It is pretty impressive how
Port
long.
Orange City Hall, like and share.
Right. It is pretty impressive how long we're able to continue to communicate and how quickly we can start communicating again way before the power and all that stuff, and you forget that the batteries in the portable radio don't work anymore. So that is huge to do that. And I've seen a ton of really great posts, so I'm not sure who's doing all that right now, Jake, but they're doing a great job. I think we have somebody. So continue to do it often. The one thing I would also ask city staff to be able to help Jake and council with is, if you start seeing on some of those posts, I don't expect us to be able to answer every question somebody posts, that's just not realistic. But if you start seeing a pattern or a series of a topic, maybe we haven't hit it hard enough, let Jake know, however that communication, let us know as a council, hey, we're seeing a bunch of posts about this, can you guys start putting out this consistently? It really does help the more we can get it out, but I want to make sure what we put out is very accurate and it's consistent. So that's critical, but social media has been a huge savior in reducing stress to the residents, because they get information, they know, helps to set expectations, and we can be providing good information. I'm glad we touched on the trimming and the stuff that's going on. We need to be letting residents know it is too late to do major hurricane prep trimming that needed to be done in May and June.
Right.
So
late now, yeah.
it's not going to get picked up. So as you see folks doing that, we need to try to encourage them. Stop doing that. Don't stack it at the road. Please don't stack it in the gutters and the curbs and next to the drains. There is a lot of that. I can't believe how much of that is going on right now. That really has to be hit home, because that's a problem. So they're going to have to pull it back off the streets. I like that you've got PD, fire, code enforcement, everybody else, if they're looking for stuff like that. That's great. Hopefully they'll make contacts, at least tell people, you got to pull it back into your yard. I know you don't want it on your grass, but it can't be where it's at right now.
Yeah.
And
Majorly
which reminds me,
problematic.
this storm may be falling at a slower pace, but do not plan on trash pickup on Monday. We ain't coming. Keep your
Not
trash
coming
inside.
Tuesday either.
Keep your trash inside until after the storm.
I don't know that for a fact, but I wouldn't plan
Well,
on it.
and
But
I wouldn't plan
yeah.
on it.
those waste
Unless
pro
we say
guys.
otherwise.
Yeah.
And to kind of piggyback on yours, I think
Get it
you
out
were
today.
you were reminding people the last time, if you hire a contractor, they're required to take the debris that they cut down or trim off your site. Is that not correct?
You bet.
Okay.
You bet.
So we probably need to get
Yeah,
that out too.
That's
and-
standard information. That'll
Yeah.
that'll be more important on the backside.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, and
uh,
that, I remember after the storm, it was pretty helpful, the information about the trash and how not to commingle it.
we
and-
have that.
Okay, so that.
Yeah,
okay,
that'll
'cause I
start
know-
coming out. So Christine, you know, she's
changed everything from last
well,
time.
she's got this. She goes to these meetings and learns all about social media and for those of you in marketing, it's out there, but
Yeah.
but there's the right timing for all the information.
yeah.
Not the info, but you can't just throw 50 things out at once. Because
No,
I
I
tell
know.
her, I need you to get this out. She goes, well, actually, once an hour, and if you do this, and so she's got like
No,
she probably has them
she does a great
scheduled
job, yeah.
and has them sent out. So that'll start to come. You know, it's like information that's not on your radar screen. I can send you something that's going to happen 6 months from now. You're going to forget. But if I send it to you a week before, you're like, ah. So she's got that plan for exactly stuff like that. The other thing that you reminded me when you were talking is every department is making preparations. One of the things that we'll be doing is depending on the strength of the storm, is a permit waiver for fences and roofs and all. Maybe not roofs, but all those things we gave permit waivers for. And I think we're going to do it for 30 days and then look to extend as necessary.
Yeah, based on severity.
But and I think, Tim, are we doing a list of contractors or a list?
It's a list basically in terms of picking your contractor, make sure they're licensed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A list of things to ask when a contractor says, "Well, I can fix that roof for you."
Yeah.
You know, where's the sign on your truck? Where's your
insurance?
license
Where's
plate?
yeah, absolutely.
That's a permit fee waiver.
Permit fee waiver. That's right. Yep. Thank you.
Still need the permit.
Fee
Thank you.
waiver, yeah. Not a,
Just to be clear.
Right. Just to be clear.
Point. The other thing I just wanted to make note of is that with regards to flooding, one of the things that we need to communicate with all of our residents is that we live in Florida. If you get enough rain, it doesn't matter how good your ditches are, how great your pumping stations are. You can't put water inside of water. And so that is a huge thing for a lot of folks who haven't lived in Florida for a very long time. They don't understand. They're like, why can't you just pump the street, pump the pond, pump the drainage ditch?
where's it going?
Where is it going to go? Once the ocean levels and the river levels rise to a certain level,
That's the
it.
level.
That's it.
Yeah.
We live at sea
When the
level, so,
when the outfalls are underwater, we're underwater. Just how it is. So the city team has done a lot of work in the last couple of years to improve the areas where we could improve. But there are limitations, and everybody needs to understand that. I saw the update this morning because of the speed of the storm and some changes. We could possibly be looking at 6 to 10 inches of rain. I know 6 to 10 inches looks like this on a scale, but in the streets, it can be 4 feet deep in places.
Yep.
And people need to understand that. So if they are in areas that are prone to past flooding from coastal storms and downpours, they need to know the likelihood of flooding again is real. Expect it. Be surprised if it doesn't occur, but expect it so that you're preparing for it and dealing with it. And that's the message I think we need to we want to keep reiterating that message and let people know that there are areas that we cannot do anything about once that water gets a certain level. So I've seen that all across the state of Florida. That's not
Right.
unique to Volusia County. So it is. So we just need to keep talking about that. I love the fact that I talked to Jake 2 days ago of the preparations where we put a lot of stuff and resources in places to be able to respond and fight that fight as long as we possibly can. And I know we'll do that. But we also have to understand there are limitations with storms of this magnitude that are starting to move slower and slower. Slow storms, bad storms.
Mm-hmm.
We want storms to go across quick and be gone.
Yep.
So just keep those things in mind, and let's do what we do.
So there's a word I used to use that I don't use anymore because, again, Steve Parnell will beat me up. But local flooding. It's not local flooding, Jake. It's ponding. Give any road you know, 20 or 30 minutes to drain off after a bad rain, and that's called ponding. Flooding's when it doesn't go away. I do think, however, if we get 10 inches of rain, we might be able to go into flooding. Well, I'll let you know.
In a few places.
What did you, Jake, what did you say Steve Parnell's personal cell phone number was?
Yeah.
That's
He's
all.
a good man. He can't do miracles that well. Well, maybe he can. I haven't seen one yet, though.
The best is yet to come for all of us, I know that. We talked about pushing the council meeting. What do you all think about Thursday night next week instead of Tuesday night, tentatively speaking?
Oh,
Might be no better.
absolutely.
No issues?
I
So
don't
let's-
think so.
Let's plan,
How flexible can we be on that, Mayor? Like, as the storm projections change?
You can be, well, we can be very flexible.
we're dealing with a force
Right.
majeure.
Right, but I'm saying, were we talking one day or middle of the day? Because as things change, you know.
Up to you all.
Can we delay it a week?
Till
We
the
can have
following
Robin
Tuesday?
coordinate. She's good at that.
Time
It's a
and
tap dance.
time and date, or we date, but time. So we'll tentatively shoot for Thursday, and Robin will email you guys
As
with
far
a-
as the actual city business, the agenda is light, but I think the ability to get back together afterwards and talk about things and get information out to people on POG TV and get questions answered of,
Sure.
that we'll have of you as well, I think.
That'll be
is-
fine.
is
Even if it's
important.
I can, you know, I can keep the staff out there doing God's work and come in. I can pretty much handle that agenda by myself. And if there's an issue, we can table it and let it ride. So we won't have everybody in here.
Do that because we won't have to table it very long.
Right.
Other things, I've been in communication with different businesses and purveyors in the area. I want to reassure everybody that gasoline, while it's in short supply, is not in short supply. I've visited several gas stations in the area that did not run out yesterday, and they don't know how they didn't run out. They're still getting more deliveries in. I was at Wawa this morning, spoke to the manager. They still have their ethanol free, which I thought they would run out of by already. That's the gasoline people like to use, and the small engines, generators, chainsaws, things like that. So they are expecting another truck today. Their trucks are all running behind, but there is more on the way. Talk to Publix. Dunlawton Publix has more stock, and they have more ability to stock things. But the Taylor Road one, as far as foods and non-perishables, they're fine. Of course, the big thing everybody talks about is water. The Dunlawton Publix has a little bit more of it right now, so that would probably be your first stop in my eyes if you're looking at the Publixes. There are other stores, the big boxes, Target and Walmart, they're bringing in trucks as well. they're getting.
Walmart
more
has
supplies.
7-gallon containers that you can fill up with your.
I was going there.
Tap.
I said, but even if you don't get the bottle of water you want in all the places, the tap will still work. So you may run out of water in the store, but you're not going to run out of water as long as we've got power to get it to you.
Mayor, just let me interject on the fuel thing. Don't lose your spot. But on that fuel note, one of the things a lot of people don't realize too is that as the cone changes, the priority of private companies to
Right.
send resources will change. So as this thing is changing towards South Florida in anticipation of a massive evacuation out of South Florida,
diverted.
they will be sending more fuel trucks south to get those folks out of that path as close
And they
as
will
possible.
also be refueling stations that are
Right.
along the interstate as well.
So just a note on that those things will change. So don't get frustrated that the
And we may
Wawa
have an
and
extra
Dunlop-
date
Yeah,
to do
we
all
got more
this,
time,
but don't
so.
wait forever. We talked about private road pickup. I know it's a frustrating situation, but we appreciate anything that people can do to help us get things picked up as quickly as possible. It is amazing how debris being in front of a house for as little as 5 days can get people antsy. I know, I feel it myself. It's part of the restoring normalcy after the storm. So we ask people, be patient with us. We really do have a big city. We got 64,200 people that live here now. That's a lot of people. We're going to do our very best for all of you. And you're going to get I just want to tell everybody watching and listening right now, you will get our best effort. You have and you will. You will get our very best effort. We're going to be there. Monday trash pickup, obviously that's up in the air. I would tell people, do not plan for it.
No.
Do not plan for trash pickup on Tuesday. We don't want that kind of debris blowing around
Yeah.
outside.
Keep it in your garage.
Hold on to it. We'll let people know for sure. Social media, Port Orange City Hall. Go to Port Orange City Hall Facebook. You can also go to the Port Orange webpage. We will get information out to you. And we talked about it earlier, the call center will be open from 7 to 7. We gave that number, 506-5999. Once we go to full activation, there'll be somebody manning those phones round the clock to answer questions. People have questions about last time when power went out, lift stations. It may happen again. We may ask you to flush lightly. We may ask you to, be smart about it. And we may end up being okay with that. We have we're in a lot better position now with generators than we were 2 years ago, and that was a big effort that Jake pushed us to spend money on, and right now I'm glad he did. Sandbags question. I know that all our sandbag sites are open today till 7 p.m. I visited most of them with the exception of the one out on near 74. And I tell you what, we had plenty of material, we had plenty of sand, and all the sites were busy. People were getting help from us as we were coming up. I was very, very, very pleased with when you don't have an overabundance of quantity on hand and people are worried and they're scrambling,
Right.
so that we took the panic away by having the overabundance of quantity, and hopefully we'll continue that. My question is, will we be doing sandbags tomorrow?
90,000 bags and more sand on the way. So I don't think we're gonna. I mean, we might run out, but I don't think we're going to.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends on what
as
people
long as
take,
we have
but yeah.
quantities, we'll be doing sandbags
yeah, we
tomorrow.
do. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Throughout the weekend, yes. Yeah, we'll go through the weekend until we have to batten down the hatches. I would assume.
Bridge closure, you're going to let us know about that once that's hashed out.
We are. The sheriff put out some guidance yesterday during the news conference that was not in line with what the police chiefs had decided. So they're going to get together with the sheriff and try to resolve that issue.
The situation when we have excessive rain, Scott hit the nail on the head. You can't put water in water. I do have some concerns about the Nova Canal system because we are indeed affected by what happens upstream from us.
You bet.
If Daytona is overwhelmed, the outfalls at LPGA and Reed Canal might be not be enough, and that while we're conveying water into that system ourselves through excessive rainfall, it's going to be flowing down towards us. There's very little we can do about that if that excess water comes, beyond managing it the best we can. If and when we do flood, if, say for example, Dunlawton gets closed at Spruce Creek Road because of flooding, the measure of that will not be if we close because of flooding, but for how long.
Yeah.
If we manage it properly, and we have in the past, we've had rainfalls where I thought we were going to be closed for days and it ended up being hours. Not saying that could happen, because we don't know what we don't know as far as the amount of rainfall. But I just want to let people know that when it comes to the Nova Canal system, that is a county effort. It's a county system, and in conveying all that water through East Volusia, we're affected by what happens in other cities as well. So there's not a lot we can do about that, except pray for dry skies and hope that we get some help with that. The other thing I had, Nova Canal, sandbags. Please, people, if you're listening right now, when the storm is over, I know you're curious. Stay in your neighborhoods. There's a lot to see in your neighborhoods. Check on your neighbors. you start to clean up, but please stay off the roads. You know, if people don't like traffic on Dunlawton now, try driving it after the storm with no traffic lights when everybody's looking for a cup of coffee. Look for, have a coffee maker where you don't need power to run it, and all you gotta do is pour the hot water in, and stay put for a while, because what we need is the opportunity to get out on the roads, clear debris, clear problems, diagnose, and at some point, we will get back to normal as quickly as we can, but I'm gonna ask people, please stay put and give us a chance to do our jobs to make sure that we can restore that quality of life for you. That is really essential. I get it, curiosity seekers, but you know what? Now that we've been through a couple of hurricanes recently, you know what it looks like, so you don't need to get out in your cars and see it. It's just the same thing again. So please stay put. That is all I had. Let me come back around the dais in case something else popped back up. Marilyn?
No.
Chase?
I had none, but I got my answer. Thank you.
Okay. Drew? Scott?
I thought you were gonna issue a executive order to keep Jim Cantori from being a city.
We're working on
Does
right
that take a
now.
motion, or?
Well, I'll tell you what, let me read resolution 19-42, abolishment of Jim Cantori. A resolution to the City Council of the City of Port Orange, Volusia County, Florida, declaring a state of local emergency. It's supposed to be authorizing. It says authorizing the city manager to exercise emergency management powers, ratifying all actions taken in preparation for Hurricane Dorian, and providing for an effective date.
Motion to approve resolution number 19-42.
A second?
Comments? Any members of the public like to speak to this?
Staff? Anybody?
No, staff, they've got,
No, staff doesn't.
they know what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call the roll.
Staff has a voice.
Councilmember Ford.
Yes.
Councilmember Bastian.
Yes.
Councilmember Stiltner.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Tremont.
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes. Just to let everybody know who's watching and listening, this is an all-hands-on-deck situation for the city. We'll be there for you. If you need us, give us a call. If you just need information, give us a call. We'll be there for you. Jake, what else you got for us?
I think that's it. We're good to go. We're gonna march on smartly and continue prepping the city. I get sit reps from the staff, from the department heads daily, and I will keep council informed. I do have an admin question. I've been taking the Tom Cisco weather briefs and just flipping them to you. I would like to, and I thought this had happened in the past, I would like to just set an auto forward, if you don't mind, during Dorian. Anything coming from Tom Cisco will come right to you. I won't even know about it. So you might
course.
get, Jake, you screwed up. You might get that. What's that? I thought I did, but
Like
it's
the one that just came to me 3 minutes ago from you?
okay. I'll check the rule.
Okay.
I got a guy for that. I don't know.
Send it.
I'll
Just
check
send
the
it.
rule and make sure it works. So yeah, because I didn't send it to you, so it must have worked.
Yeah, this is
But I'll check, Marilyn. I'll check to make sure that it's going to council and not individual members, and you're on it. And Jim Judge also sends out some good information to me. If you would like that as well, I can auto forward that during Dorian, and then deselect that after the event. Some of it's just inconsequential for council, but a lot of it is very. It'll answer your questions before you ask me about them. So, all right.
This is good, we appreciate it. Information for us that you send us, we get out, and this just updated from high to extreme, our flash flooding risk.
Yeah,
So,
I imagine.
And that's in there.
So, and
Because that's automatic, we're not having to wait, and you're not having to worry about giving
right.
it to us.
And the other thing that I've already kind of asked of you in the past, I appreciate, and staff appreciates, council's engagement with the citizens with stuff like Scott's post on the debris and things of that nature. The people listen to the staff, don't get me wrong, but people hang on your Facebook accounts and watch for what you all are saying. politically. So, okay, it's not political, but it's still information that they're like, oh, what did the mayor say? So, they're, you know, they're all on your favorite. So the more information that you think is important to your constituents that you can put out, the better off the city is as a whole. So I appreciate you guys as far as helping us with the media piece.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If nothing comes before us, nothing else comes before us, let me just say this. Everybody stay safe, and I look forward to talking to everybody after this thing is passed, hopefully about how this was just a live drill. But if it isn't, I know I'll get my best. You'll get my best. You'll get the best from all of us up here, and I know we'll get the very best from everybody in this room. We're here for you, Port Orange. Let us know if you need anything. Thank you.